Hi, so today I wanted to talk to you about two of the most popular soil amendments. These amendments are typically found in soil mixtures. Also, you can use them to make your own soil mixtures. One of them is Coco Coir and the other one is Peat Moss. So I'm going to talk about where these are from, what they're used for, and sustainability. I had some confusion myself over whether I should be using peat moss because I heard it was not really a sustainable material. And of course, I don't want to be using it if it's not. One of the reasons why these materials are really great to use in soil mixes is that they're both really great at retaining water. They don't get muddy or they let water pass through them as well. So they can retain water but also allow for airflow. That makes it the perfect material for plants. So let's start with peat moss. Peat moss is found in bogs, and bogs are just large areas that are saturated with water. The top of the bog is covered in usually like a sphagnum peat moss, and then underneath is decomposed sphagnum peat moss and other plants that are just decaying. It's a pretty important ecosystem. A lot of times the top layer of the bog is removed and used, and then the bottom layer is also harvested. Coco Coir is the other product that's being used a lot in soil, and Coco Coir is a newer product, I think, for gardeners, and it's a newer amendment for soil. It's typically the byproduct of coconuts, and of course coconut milk is pretty popular these days, so it seems great that we can just use the husk of the coconut, and all of a sudden we have a byproduct that's great for our garden. Coco Coir has antifungal properties, and it also has a natural rooting hormone in it, so it could be used for a mixture for starting plants. Coco Coir, it turns out, does not really have many nutrients, so if you are using it in a mix, you really want to add worm castings or compost to your mix. You will not be getting any nutrients out of the Coco Coir. Peat, on the other hand, does have nutrients and is on the higher end of acidity. So a lot of times they'll add lime into the soil mixtures in order to neutralize the pH. The longer fibers of the coconut are used in brushes and used in makings of mats, but the finer particles is what is used in gardening materials. So this seems like a great product, and it seems sustainable. Seems perfect, right? So now let's talk about sustainability. It seems to make sense that Coco Coir is going to be more sustainable over the long run. It's a byproduct, so if we weren't using it, it would just go to waste. Sphagnum peat moss, on the other hand, really seems like it's not sustainable. I mean, they're taking habitat from animals that live in these bogs, and they're taking plants that have been decomposing for a very long time. But that said, there's a few things that I think are good to keep in mind. So sphagnum peat moss, at least in Canada, there are apparently a whole lot of bogs. There are so many bogs in Canada that the Sphagnum Peat Moss Bog Association apparently says that there's plenty of bogs and it's okay to harvest them. So going on that, maybe it's okay. In contrast, coconut coir is a sustainable product that is recycled material coming from coconuts, and it's typically made in India and Sri Lanka. So this product seems like the perfect solution to peat moss that is maybe not so sustainable. Unfortunately, there's a lot of water that's needed in the production of Coco Coir, so maybe that's not so sustainable. Also, the machines that are making the coconut coir, they leave off a lot of particles and dust, and the people that are working in those areas might not be so protected from that dust and fine particles. So there's that too. Also, they're made far away from us in the US at least. Coco Coir is made so far away it needs to be shipped in and then probably trucked over to our, store. So those are also things that are not so sustainable. One of the other problems with harvesting peat is the fact that when we're harvesting the peat from these bogs, we're releasing carbon into the atmosphere. I'm not really sure to the degree as to which this is a problem, but a lot of people are concerned about carbon sequestration and the effect that it can have on our environment that's already having a challenging time. So in the end, I guess after researching both of these products, I got a little bit confused. Both of them have benefits and downfalls. So I would say that peat's kind of great because it is providing some nutrients to the plants. Coco Coir is just a waste product, so it seems perfect. Too bad we can't produce it, locally. I think one of the best choices for soil amendments really is going to be compost, worm castings, and making your own compost at home. These are two things that you can do yourself, and although composting is always presented a challenge for me, worm composting has been relatively easy. So I think that in the end, using less of these products and more compost that we create in our garden and worm castings, I guess the better. Thanks so much, and see you later. Just tell me what to say. Thanks for watching. Please remember, subscribe and click that notifications button. See you next time. Bye. Ooh, and comment if you have any questions.